And a pleasant good evening. We say hello from our Spurs Live desk. I'm Dan Weiss. Great to have you with us this evening. And before we go any further, a thank you to our servicemen and women for their sacrifice, both now and from in the past. We would not be here without you. Let's show you what's coming up on this edition of Spurs Live as we count you down to tip-off here on this special night at the Frost Bank Center. Of course, more on Military Appreciation Night. We'll give you an update on DAaron Fox, whose season came to an end yesterday. We'll talk more about Keldon Johnson, his spark off the bench since the All-Star break. And Sean Elliott will give us his keys to victory here as the Spurs look to pick up their second straight win. And without further ado, we welcome in the big fella down courtside here at the Frost Bank Center, Sean Elliott joining us. And Sean, you know, we've been doing Military Appreciation Night for so many years. USAA has been a partner with the Spurs for over 15 years, and yet it's still one of the best nights on the calendar here at the arena.
I couldn't agree more, Dan. It's important. It's really vital that we recognize our military. Obviously, they're one of the pillars of our community. We are Military City, USA, after all. And so I think it's just important to let the veterans know that we appreciate, we understand their sacrifice, their dedication, and their service.
Here, here. And before we go any further, did you sink a few putts yesterday? I was getting a little worried about you the other night.
Dan, isn't it appropriate that I played Army golf today?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, left, right.
Very good. Very appropriate indeed.
Yes.
The unfortunate news for the Spurs coming down yesterday, it was announced DAaron Fox will miss the remainder of the regular season. He's going to have surgery on that left pinky, the tendon that needs repair. Surgery will be conducted next week. Sean, he finishes his brief tenure this season with the Spurs at just under 20 points a game, just under 7 assists in 17 games. We knew this was coming, but obviously when you know about the recovery time, when you know that DAaron wants to get back in the gym in the offseason and get prepared towards next year, obviously sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. I mean, we knew this was coming. We knew it was inevitable. And I think it's excellent timing. And kudos to DAaron Fox for hanging in there that long. It happened the second day of training camp. When I suffered my injury, it happened about midseason, so I was able to complete the season. Obviously, my hand never got better, but you could tell that it was bothering him. He had it taped to his ring finger on his left hand. And so that had to be an issue with him the entire season. So it makes sense for him to get it done now. You get back in the gym, you rehab, you recover, you start getting a lot of reps in with that shooting hand over the summertime, and you're ready to go come training camp.
Let's hear the mindset and thoughts from DAaron earlier today at Shoot Around about, why he decided to get the surgery now.
The big thing was, what was the recovery time? Did we want to risk having to, miss, would it be half the offseason or whatever it may be? So, you want to be able to get, full offseason in with the guys and being able to be on the court. So that was really a big part of the decision making.
Earlier the better.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, like I said, I've been playing with it all season. So it was what it was, if I had to finish the season like that. But a big part was, we want to be able to grow together in the offseason as well.
So, Sean, he estimates recovery time about 12 weeks. That takes you basically to the end of June. That gives you about 3 full months leading up to training camp that he can be in there with Victor and everybody else here moving forward towards next season.
Yeah, I mean, perfect timing, right? You should take this time off, these 12 weeks, rest your body, stay in reasonably good shape. You don't want your body to get too far out of shape, but you just lay off that hand for a little while. You're going to have plenty of time to get your rhythm and timing back, work on your ball handling, work on your shot. You got 3 months before training camp. I just think it's the right thing to do at the right time.
Well, at least he left us with a vintage DAaron Fox performance the other night, though, Sean, in the win against Dallas. 31 points, 11 assists, just missed his second career triple-double by 1 rebound.
Like a great performer, Dan, you just leave the crowd and the audience wanting for more. And that's exactly what he did the other night. 1 rebound shot of a triple-double, just basically did everything out there. And you can see how gingerly he throws that dunk down. That shows you how that finger is really affecting his hand, but he still manages to shoot the ball well with his 2 fingers taped together, which I said, again, is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it kind of felt like he knew it was his last performance. And as you say, a great performer leaves you wanting more. And DAaron kind of left it all on the floor the other night.
He really did. And I can't wait to see him back healthy next year. Victor Wembanyama back and healthy. The growth of Steph Castle and Devin Vassell, Keldon, Jared Jeremy. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so, again, our fans just have to hang in there and see what's coming up on the horizon.
And it was a good win for the Spurs against the Mavericks. And again, it was another tremendous performance for Keldon Johnson off the bench. I mean, he's been Mr. Energy since he got here 5 years ago, Sean, but I mean, just continues to do it consistently night in and night out.
I feel like Keldon has figured out a lot of things this year. He's really figured out his strengths to his game, and he's really exploited that, especially in the second half of the season. He's been terrific, taking the ball to the basket, making the right decisions, not settling for three balls, using his force and his touch in the paint area, and just bringing that energy on the bench. When the coaching staff moved him to the bench, I think that was a godsend for him.
Yeah.
Because he comes off against guys in the second unit. He's been a starter pretty much his entire career, and he's really done a great job just taking advantage of every situation.
Yeah, he's going to certainly be in the conversation going forward for Sixth Man of the Year roles here as he moves forward in his career. Let's welcome in the third member of our broadcast crew. Madison Huck joins us courtside. Good evening, Madison.
Hey, Dan, I want to go behind enemy lines here for a minute because Charlotte is trying to form some sort of winning streak right now. After losing 9 consecutive games, the Hornets have now won 2 of their last 3 games. And a big reason of that is because of their superstar LaMelo Ball. First and foremost, he's healthy and he's finding an offensive rhythm, but health is key. LaMelo Ball right now has played in 42 games this season, which is most since his second season in the league back in 2021-2022. A reminder, he's just 23 years old, but he has dealt with his fair share of injuries. But you take a look at his numbers and what he's been able to do, 25.5 points per game. And Sean, I want to get your take on this. Can LaMelo Ball take Charlotte where they want to go if he's their number 1 scoring option?
Yeah, Madison, I don't think there's any question. When I look at a young guy like LaMelo Ball and the injuries that he suffered, it always reminds me of Steph Curry, because Steph Curry's first 4 or 5 years in the league, if we haven't forgotten, he really had ankle issues that he had to deal with. And at one point, actually, Golden State thought about trading him because they thought he was injury prone, but he adjusted. He strengthened his legs, the muscles around his ankle. He still wears ankle braces, but he definitely got Golden State where they wanted to go. And so LaMelo Ball, he's talented. He's as good as any guard out there when he has it going on. I think he needs a few more pieces around him, but I don't think there's any question if he can stay injury-free, he can take his team to greater heights. Definitely, they can be a playoff team with him in Charlotte.
Yeah, you can tell LaMelo Ball's ceiling is really high, and one of those key pieces around him right now is Miles Bridges. What Bridges has been able to do over the last 5 games or so is incredible. He's averaging 32.2 points per game, and Charlotte head coach Charles Lee said Miles has just taken it upon himself to spark Charlotte right now with his energy and his effort and with his communication. And Sean, when you're pairing LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges together, how can the Spurs slow them down here in this game?
It's going to be difficult, especially when you don't have DAaron Fox out there. You don't have Victor to shut down the paint area. And let's not forget that Miles Bridges hit the game-winning shot against us from the corner in Charlotte. And so he's a guy who's not afraid to step up and take big shots. So those two guys get it going. They could beat anybody in the league because both those guys are almost unguardable. You look at his big body, Miles Bridges. You see him warming up. That is a big human being. And so we talk about big bodies. Hopefully he and Keldon get a chance to clash tonight.
Yeah, the Spurs defensively will have their hands full with those two guys, but I know they are up for the challenge. Time for a quick break here on Spurs Live. But when we come back, Jacob Toby is going to join us as it is military night here inside the Frostbreak Center, and he's going to sit down with a very special guest.
Words from all the Spurs, Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson on this military appreciation night as we continue Spurs Live. Dan Weiss upstairs here at our Spurs Live desk out in front of the Ultra Club. Sean Elliott joining us courtside at the Frostbank Center. Hey, Sean, Chris Paul, and I always knock on wood when I bring up these numbers, but sets another record last night, or I guess the other night against Dallas. 64 consecutive games to start the season. Has played in every single game. That is the most by a player in his 20th season or later in NBA history, passing the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Again, I don't want to take for granted the durability of what Chris Paul has brought to the Spurs this year.
You can't, because I know there were some concerns or questions about his ability to stay healthy at this age coming into this season. And I think he's just done a remarkable job taking care of his body, preparing himself, coaching up the young guys, mentoring the young guys. But he's done a phenomenal job with his health, Dan. I mean, the fact that he's still out there moving around, getting after it on the defensive end of the floor, making plays, and he's been relatively healthy this year. I can't recall one instance where we've held him out due to any kind of strain or pull or anything of that nature. So kudos to the old guys in this league. Chris Paul, LeBron James also get it done, but Chris Paul, pretty remarkable, because I know at 39, there's no way I was going to be able to step out on a court and keep up with these young guys.
You know, John Stockton started all 82 games at 42 years of age, by the way.
That guy, he was a terror. A lot of people don't remember John Stockton, especially a lot of the younger people don't remember him. He was a bulldog, and Chris Paul is in that same mold.
Let's take a look at the final 18 games of the regular season, Sean. Here, you know what? Good news. They're split right down the middle. 9 home, 9 on the road. That being said, does include 2 long road trips here to close the year, but we're less than a month away from ending the regular season. This is going to go by pretty quickly.
It is. Unfortunately, again, we don't have 2 of our big guns, but this is a great opportunity for our young guys to really shine and continue to grow, get some extra minutes, and go into the offseason with some confidence.
Yeah, Steph Castle's going to make his first start tonight since February the 3rd in Memphis and his 30th start of the season, and that takes us to your keys to victory tonight.
Yeah, hey, let the young guys drive the car every once in a while, all right? We'll let the young guys run tonight. That's going to be key. Mitch Johnson talked about it. Let Steph crash the car if he has to. He hadn't done that yet. So let's see what the young guys got out there. A lot of these young guys have been right at the bench. They're going to get their opportunity to get a lot more minutes tonight. And Steph Castle should get a huge workload on the offensive end and the defensive end, especially if you have to guard LaMelo Ball. And let's continue the road misery for the Hornets. They're not a good road team. You look at that, 6-25 road record. Let's be rude hosts tonight. Let's get off to a good start and get after them on the defensive end of the floor, and hopefully you come out with another result like you had the other night against Dallas.
Sean, Steph Castle's been so good off the bench here over the last month. How do you think he's going to fare moving back into the starting lineup here tonight?
I think he'll be just fine. He's out there with Chris Paul. I thought that was a great combination earlier on in the season when he was out there starting a few games. So I don't worry about Steph Castle one bit. I do want him to stay out of foul trouble. Don't pick up anything silly, especially if you're guarding LaMelo Ball. Don't pick up anything silly early. We're going to need him to play a lot of minutes.
Yeah, and he was phenomenal in that last game in Charlotte. Those 33 points, those came off the bench, which again, I mean, as a rookie, 33 off the bench is sometimes unthinkable.
33 off the bench for anybody.
True.
An established veteran is an impressive performance. And so, like I've said numerous times, Dan, when you play well against a team, you're going to feel confident when you see them again. You're going to feel like they don't have an answer for you. But go out there and have the same type of performance. That'd be huge for Steph.
All right, we got the Spurs and the Hornets. We got Military Appreciation Night again, one of the best nights of the year here at the Frost Bank Center. It's game number 3 of this 4-game spring break homestand. Maybe the most important of the all, as we say thank you to our servicemen and women on this special night. Jacob Toby, Sean Elliott, myself, Madison Hawk with you all night. We got more coming up at the half and after the game on Spurs Live. Enjoy it all right here on FanDuel Sports Network.